Alright, back with me with Ken Aditya. If you didn't know, this is a wrap-up video for my 30 days talking to the camera with English, which is not my native language. I live in Jakarta, Indonesia, and I'm trying to have a challenge to improve my public speaking skills and whatnot. So basically I'm going to have a presentation in a couple of weeks, and I'm trying to prepare my English so I can present without having much trouble to deliver my ideas or information. So yeah, before that, I'm gonna have some music play in the background using my Roland T8 and Korg Chaos Pad. Don't worry, it's royalty free. So I don't get copyright on YouTube. Yeah, just a quick sum up for the challenge. This is actually day 17, which I was supposed to make a video on day 14, which is, sorry about that. I'm trying to increase the volume now. So my plan was to create sum up video for each week and let you know the progress that I am struggling and which part that I'm improving. Firstly, I would like to thank you someone on my previous video that gave me some very good feedback about being more aware of the tone and also how I deliver each word. He or she, I don't know, basically said that I shouldn't think before I speak, but I think that's quite the challenge because in my native tongue, I always think before I speak, so it's actually, I think it's a part of my personality of being an introvert INFJ, I guess, but I'm not sure about that. But I'm trying to work on that and make conversations more casual. This is day 17, and actually every day I've been making videos talking to the camera. It has become a diary basically. It's quite fun, and I can basically just speak about 15 minutes without making any sense. Is what politicians do. I think I've improved a bit. I'm noticing what I'm struggling most when talking is I use a lot of filler words like but, basically, firstly, because I'm trying to find a filler word before my ideas comes out. The solution for me right now is actually to speak very slowly. I think that's for the English part, but for talking in the camera, I think I'm getting more comfortable, I guess. And the main trouble for the first week is actually looking at that screen up there, the LCD screen, looking at myself, which kind of distracts the viewers because I don't have direct eye contact and it looks like I'm looking somewhere else. Every 2 weeks I was planning to make a wrap-up video. Last week I made a review of my camera and several tools I'm using to make this video. Since I'm preparing for a workshop presentation I'm gonna give in 2 weeks in the British School of Jakarta, which I was invited by Own Academy. I really like the company goals and their approach to education basically. They have a different approach on how to prepare children on the real world and challenges they may face. When I was preparing the presentation, I did trace back on my journey in life and how I ended up doing music full-time before I was working as an architect. But as life turns out, I became a full-time music producer until now. Since I've been interested also in psychology, in the Jungian framework, I guess. I'm gonna try to make this quick and maybe less confusing. I'm gonna give it a try because this is a kind of a deep topic. I think it's very essential because this is the stuff that I will teach to the kids. Is the importance of embracing your inner child. And out there you will find a lot of information about inner child, this and that, or maybe from Instagram posts. There's a lot of misconceptions, I guess. What is the inner child? And To me, essentially, it's a very deep aspect of yourself. It's the most raw, most pure aspect of your own being. So I'm trying to make this a bit more simple, but I guess this is also my learning process on how to discuss these difficult topics using more simple English. So bear with me. Somewhat an amateur, but I'm talking about this because learning about my inner child has helped me in many aspects in my life. In becoming a musician, by acknowledging and embracing and even talking with your inner child is something very important, especially today with many people, including myself, struggle with mental issues and the ups and downs to face life. What is it, the inner child? Every one of you, when you're born with several sets of interests, talents, skills. This can be genetic, if you want the scientific phrase, or this can be given to you from the universe, if you want to go to the spiritual aspect of it. And as we go through life and we experience trauma as a kid until growing up, we have this coping mechanism. Let's say you have a trauma in school, people bully you, maybe you had bad experiences with relationships, or even at home with your own parents. So as a kid, you may find this coping mechanism by burying several aspects of yourself. You try to build these walls inside your soul. These walls, as you grow up, actually may prevent you from the qualities that you have from when you were a kid. Let's say when you're 3 or 5 years old, you're really good at drawing, and then life comes at you and you have to adapt with certain situations, and that you have to grow up, you have expectations from family, friends, school. To cope on with this situation, you recreated yourself into someone else that isn't you, or at least someone who isn't with the traits you have when you was a kid. So you build this wall, you make this mask, and you try to fit in the society. You can make this mask whatever you shape it into, but the psyche and the inner child will never lie. I struggle with a lot of mental issues, especially raging. In psychological terms, it's called intermittent explosive disorder. I'm also very prone to addiction. So if life doesn't go in a way that I want it to be, I'm prone to substances like alcohol, benzodiazepines, and the ones that you get from the doctor. They won't help you. I'm talking this because I've struggled with this for a long time. It's a long life process, I guess, for self-actualization, or let's say your spiritual journey. I'm gonna try to make this quick because I'm talking in circles. Yeah, I think it was 6 or 7 years ago. Yeah, I was working in this office. I was in a very depressed state, actually. Firstly, I have to wake up in the morning, go through Jakarta's traffic jam, work in this cubicle. I don't know, I'm not gonna judge because a lot of people also love them. But for me, it goes against my grain of who I am. So I started to question, who am I? So yeah, one day when I was working on this big project and I was staying up very late. I think I haven't slept for 3 days and was drinking a lot of Red Bulls. I weigh about 115. Maybe I'll show a picture here. It's a picture of me waiting in the meeting room, and I had the urge to just photo myself, and I saw this picture and said, damn, this is not me. I mean, this is not who I am. That night when I was working on this project, this can become a bit cheesy, but it is what it is. So there's this particular song which I've already known this song for a long time, actually. It's a track called Transition by Underground Resistance. It's a Detroit techno track. I think it was released in the 90s. And I've known this track for a long time, but it never came across to me the lyrics. the lyrics may trigger something inside of you, especially if you're having a midlife crisis. It's a techno track, but the lyrics are really deep. So the vocal says that there will come a time in your life when you ask yourself a series of questions. Am I happy of who I am? Am I happy with the people around me? Am I happy with what I'm doing? Am I happy with my life is going? Do you have a life or am I just living? And then it goes like, do not let these questions restrain or trouble you. Just point ahead to your directions of your dream. Find the strength in your sounds and make your transition. I think that's the lyrics. So I used to find the lyrics a bit cheese, I guess. But at that crucial moment, this song actually triggered something very deep inside of me. And several weeks later, I finally quit my job and I made a full-time decision to transition into music. Although at the time I have already a career, but I never explored music as a way to support my livelihood. So when I quit my job, I was very confused actually. I didn't have any income, and as an artist, I haven't worked on a track again, and I was relying most on DJ gigs, which you have to play a lot to at least sustain a good cash flow. At one time, I actually opened my closet here. I used to collect comic books. This is X-Men. My uncle bought this from America. I was seven years old maybe. And inside this comic book was a drawing I made. I'll attach the picture later on. It's basically a drawing of me trying to create a comic book. So after looking at that comic book, I had this flashback when I was creating the comic and the emotions I felt. I felt a sense of joy, and I was really into the drawing. I mean, do you know when you're very into something? Let's say you're playing a guitar, or let's say you're swimming, or you're cooking. There's this moment when you're very present and you're enjoying the stuff you're doing. Now, that triggered me into a rabbit hole on psychology, spirituality, and how this all connects. Because when I was working as an architect, I used to view my friends, come here. I used to look at my friends and they really did. They have passion for architecture. I mean, when they're not working, they will be reading magazines or looking up news on what is the latest trends on design and whatnot. So I started to question myself that I think architecture isn't for me, because there's a lot of people out there working. This is a very creative field, and I'm not saying that others are not, but being an architect, you must have that drive and creativity to have innovations, can come up with creative designs. And I don't know, I don't want to waste my life doing something that I feel I'm not supposed to do. So that was the trigger actually what made me jump into music production seriously. This drawing reminded me that I miss that feeling. I haven't felt that in such a long time. And when I was working as an architect, I used to have this resentment, because deep inside I always wanted to do music. I've known music for my whole life. I started playing guitars, and I thank my parents for supporting me with the tools I needed. Basically, I've been creating music since I was 10 or 12 years old, when I was starting to play with computers and understanding DAWs. Wait, you're not a boy. You're not a boy. So at the time, I really didn't know the concept of inner child, and these are just labels, I guess, but I really didn't know this concept until I really tried to apply it in my own life. When I quit my job and trying to start to figure out how would I make this talent that I have that I haven't been using, and how I would make this into something that can support my livelihood. after looking at that comic book, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just watching YouTube videos on how to start your own business, and I had just this gut feeling about I think I should do something fun. I started learning Adobe Illustrator, and at that time period, although I didn't have any money in the bank, I would go to the museum and take pictures of statues because I'm really into the mysteries of life and whatnot. I bought this book on Adobe. I took a whole year off not doing anything. I mean, I was focusing 100% on learning Adobe Illustrator. And it was fun. I had really much fun. There were parts of me that I guess this 1 year of me learning Adobe Illustrator sparked something that was dormant inside my brain, or I don't know. But so after I finished with the lessons, I tried to basically freelance on Fiverr and try to sell my works, which today, 2024, to be honest, with artificial intelligence and all that, if you want to be a graphic designer, it's very saturated in Fiverr or any freelance market. There was about maybe 5 to 6 months that I put myself out there creating these mini projects on Behance to attract, I guess, clients maybe. I also sold mock-ups for graphic designers to use. Yeah, I really put all of my focus on that, which didn't work. So I had this realization again that what should I do? What should I do? Damn it. And actually the answer was pretty simple. The thing that I was doing all this time since I was a kid, which is music. But before jumping into this music, I had this preconceived belief that I cannot make a living doing music, which is very wrong. And a lot of my friends do make a living and are successful because they pursue music either as a business or artistry or whatnot. But it proves to me that it's possible. So I finally had the guts to pursue music as a business, and I can explore my creative endeavors as Midnight Safari. There's this one particular book that it's called Mastery by Robert Greene, which I based my belief on, not belief, at least system on how I would pursue music. Oh yeah, before I'm gonna jump in this, I'm gonna give a disclaimer that each person that's really interested in this field or any part of the music industry will have a different path. So don't take my experience or words and apply them directly, but you can add them as just insights if you're gonna explore or trying to start out in this industry. So yeah, long story short, I made the decision to pursue music both as a business and as an artist. So that day on Fiverr, I just made a gig. The title of the gig is "I will help you to finish this track," and I really didn't expect anything about it. Then, like after 3 days putting that gig online, there was my first order came in, and I remembered it was about $100, and I was very happy because I never knew that I can give service and it's valuable to someone else out there in the world, and I can work from home. Basically that was my dream job, to work anywhere, and yeah, perhaps I can travel someday when my venture becomes self-sustaining. At least I get a lot of passive income. So yeah, I think that was like five years ago, and I continued the progress and helped a lot of clients actually. I think to this day I've helped about 120 tracks in total and a lot of repeating clients, and today is 3rd of June 2024. I'm very thankful that Fiverr has chosen me as a pro seller and a top rated seller, which I never dreamt in my wildest dreams. I still struggle with basic pressure, which is good pressure, I think. I'm going everywhere, but yeah, back to this drawing again, I guess. The importance of knowing your inner child. It's simple as acknowledging things that makes you happy when you was a kid. And sometimes we in this world we forget about it, and it's not our fault. We forget about the things that made us happy as a kid. It's a way of the human copes up with hardships and conditions. But the point I'm trying to say is, if I didn't acknowledge my inner child and explored it, I never would come into this position right now that I finally can release music as an artist too. Also, I can work on the business side of things in the music and give service to people. Now, this is where the book mastery comes in, which Robert Greene has talked about. If you cannot find a mentor, you can work with clients again and again and again, and it can be a replacement of a mentor actually, working with a lot of people with different kind of needs, and it's the greatest life mentor actually. If I didn't heard the call on that day, if I hadn't listened to that track Transition and didn't followed my gut to learn Adobe Illustrator, I think I wouldn't be here right now talking. And oh, by the way, I also took a job as a bike messenger a couple of months ago, and it really helped me with my burnout actually, because when I was a kid I used to cycle a lot. In Indonesia you call it komplek. And it has helped me giving me ideas of a song. So let's say along the ride I will get these hits of ideas, and I would write down on my notebook, and I can work on it when I get home. Yeah, I apologize, this is unstructured video. I didn't have a script because I'm trying to basically wing it and just talk in plain English without being formal, but you get the idea that if you're struggling with something and you have a deep yearning to do something different, then maybe you should open your closet with the collections of your photos or anything related to things that you did as a child that makes you happy, because most of the time the problems in your life you're facing right now will have the answers in this. Things you do as a kid. As corny and cheesy as it sounds, but it's very true. So yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap up this video. Apologize again because I'm talking around and around. This is me, Ken Aditya, talking from day 17. Yeah, thank you for watching my video, and please, if you have any feedback or any suggestions or hate comments or anything, you are welcome on the box below. Alright guys, thank you for watching and goodbye.